Hello, everybody. Welcome. Oh, that is so low energy. Welcome, welcome. Happy Hall of Fame. Welcome to our students on campus and our grads on campus, and welcome to our online audience as well. We're so happy to have you here. Who can envision themselves up here one day being a Hall of Famer? I hope all of you, right? I just wanted to explain briefly what that takes. So to be a Hall of Famer, we know you have to be spectacular in your career. We know you have to be a wonderful, big-hearted person. The most important part is that you give back to your fellow graduates. And we're not talking about money. We're talking about time, resources, advice, heart. So that's what all of these people have done. They've been out of school for 10 years. They're at the top of their game, and they are giving back. So that's what's so important. So I'm Sherri Tantleff. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations here at Full Sail University. We have an incredible alumni relations team who are so passionate about supporting our graduates, creating content like this, and we will always be here for you in your journey, okay? Are you ready to meet our grads? All right, our Hall of Fame inductees. First up, with over 30 AAA game releases under his belt, he's shaped the sound of industry-defining franchises like Uncharted, The Last of Us, Call of Duty, and God of War. A former senior music manager at PlayStation and music production manager at Meta. Currently, he's the founder and CEO of Spider Farm Productions, delivering immersive music experiences for top game, film, and TV studios, including Bungie, Skydance, Fox, and Infinity Ward. So let's welcome recording arts graduate and a new Hall of Fame inductee. He is Jonathan Mayer. You can crank it up. Oh, Jonathan, oh, Jonathan. Little singing for you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, and we can keep the music going. Let's do it. As a co-founder and CEO of Discord, he's revolutionized the way gamers connect through voice, video, and text. Before launching Discord, he was a founder and CEO of OpenFaint, a leading social media gaming platform. I'm sure you've heard of it. A lifelong gamer turned entrepreneur, his mission to modernize play is inspired by the memories and friendships he created from staying up all night playing Magic the Gathering, launching too many blue shells in Mario Kart, and playing just one more match of StarCraft. Let's welcome 2004 game development graduate and also a new Hall of Fame inductee, Jason Citron. Hey! You can have a seat now. All right, next up, a game changer in the sports industry. She's led global initiatives at MLS, IMG Academy, and now as VP of Football Partnerships at SPORTFIVE. With a passion for innovation and international expansion, she's launched more than 500 sports initiatives worldwide, forging powerful media and marketing partnerships that elevate the global sports landscape. So let's welcome 2014. She's an entertainment business graduate and a new Hall of Fame inductee, Martina Bozic. All right, and next up, from Vicarious Visions to Magic Leap to Ghost Punch Games, he's driven innovation in game development and technology. Now he serves as Senior Director and Head of Co-Development at Side, where he leads growth and delivery for major projects. His credits span iconic multi-platform titles, including Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Guitar Hero 3, Borderlands, Gears of War Judgment, Fortnite, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and so many more. Let's welcome 2006 game development graduate and new Hall of Fame inductee, Alejandro Garcia-Tunon. All right. right, a powerhouse in film and television. He's led global teams at EA, Zynga, and Universal before founding Paper Street Pictures, producing more than 20 films that have sold to Netflix, Lionsgate, and AMC. His latest, Shelby Oaks, hits theaters in 2025 via Neon. An award-winning writer and director, he's behind The Pale Door and the cult favorite Scare Package franchise. Currently, he's the showrunner and executive producer of Revival for NBC and Peacock. Let's welcome 2002 film graduate and a new Hall of Fame inductee, Aaron B. Koontz. All right, and last but not least, a visionary in live entertainment. She started her Disney career in 2011, casting for the American Idol experience. Now a senior creative producer with Disney Live Entertainment, she leads teams of artists and technologists to craft immersive storytelling for Disney parks worldwide. From Happily Ever After to Fantasmic, her work blends theatrical magic with cutting-edge technology to bring Disney's most iconic productions to life. Let's welcome 2011 Entertainment Business Masters graduate. She is Katrina Mena Rick. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I think this is the first time you've all been together on one panel, correct? Well, welcome to the family. It feels really, really good. And thank you all for being here. Good for you, right? Because that's what it takes to wind up here. So I just want to go back, way back in the time machine, and let's talk about your experience on campus as students and how you made the most of it here. So, Katrina, let's start with you. Do you remember your time on campus, what it was like? You want to share some impressions?
Yes, absolutely. I remember back in the day in 2010, 2011, I came here with my husband, Keith. We were both students. We got engaged in the audio temple and we took our pictures there. And, the memories that I have were just creating. I would create beats with the other students. And every single month I would record original songs with the artist relations team. And then by the time I graduated, I had my own little indie album, and it was just so fun to just be immersed, a group of people that were just as weird and creative as me. So I just really cherish those times, those memories, and yeah, it's so really good to be back.
Well, nice. What about you, Jonathan? How did you spend your time here on campus? Were you constantly making music, and how did that translate into music for games?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago. It was 1999 when I was here, and into 2000. And so the whole campus was the building next door and a little part of this building, I guess. And so, my memories mostly involve, making lots of music. I mean, I spent almost all my time outside of class working on music. I played in a couple bands while I was here in town. We were recording constantly. We set up a little studio in my apartment down the street, and we were recording all the time there too. So it kind of never stopped. And we had a very small class. There were about 30 people in the whole recording arts class I was in. And so we were really tight, and I just, the feeling, I didn't know this at the time, but the feeling that I have now when I come back and I'm with all these amazing alumni that are part of our family, kind of started then, right? It was like this little tight-knit group, and we were all going through something together and trying to do something that seemed like a big reach for us. And so it still feels that way now. I mean, it's amazing. There's just a lot more of us.
And Jason, what about you? When was the last time you were back on campus?
I think it was probably 2004.
Wow.
Like driving up here, I was like, whoa.
So tell us your impressions and tell us a little bit about your time in school here.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting hearing just what you two were saying, because I had a very similar experience where what I loved so much about it was just being immersed in this craft that I was really excited to learn and passionate about, which is, making video games. And spending so much time with friends at their apartments, around town, just like coding and making games and just doing different stuff like the whole time. So it was, we'd go to class and learn whatever the thing was and then go home and then do like another 10 hours of just working on projects together. And so it was just like a 2-year deep dive. It was really incredible, and those friendships have lasted, for a really long time.
Oh, I want to hear more about that. I love that. And what about you, Martina? How did you discover Full Sail, and how did you dive right in? And tell us about your time here.
Sure. I mean, I'm an international student, and Full Sail was way more than just a school for me. Back home in Germany and Croatia, entertainment business was extremely unusual, and there was no career path into entertainment business. And I came here with my husband, who played golf professionally. Orlando is the mecca for golf. And I Googled what can I do in Orlando, and I just couldn't believe that you can have a master's in entertainment business. And from my first phone call with Full Sail, I just felt the energy, the family, the support. And then when I stepped on campus, I felt like this is Disneyland for creatives. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. I still have that same feeling every time I step on campus. I think the energy and just being surrounded by dreamers, believers, creatives at our core, I think we're all the same. So during my time at Full Sail, I really learned about the American lifestyle, the culture, networking. It really provided the foundation for my life here in the U.S.
And you've done so well. It's been a pleasure to watch, and we'll get deeper into that in a minute. But Alejandro, tell us about your leap into the industry. Was what you were doing on campus similar to what you saw when you went out into the real world? Tell us a little bit about your journey here.
Yeah, I would say it applied pretty much directly. Like all the things and that's one of the things I always tell people when I come back is the professors here know what they're talking about, because most of them have done it themselves and then come back to teach here because it's such an amazing place. It's one of the reasons I keep coming back. It's such an amazing place. So the coursework is directly applicable to everything that you're doing. The way that you learn here is directly applicable to the way that you learn while you're in the industry. My first job out of school was at a military sim company in Virginia, working the building the engine from game tech for military simulation, and all of the same principles applied to that engine that they were building that were skills picked up here. Absolutely.
Amazing. And Aaron, we're going to wrap it up with you, but the film industry, right? Here you are on campus making films, dealing with equipment, using everything. When you went out there, was it a comfortable transition? Did it look like it looked here?
Yeah, I mean, Full Sail was my first time on a film set, and that was revolutionary for me. It was just this, there was a lot of people who, like, I had done well in school and people thought I was supposed to go be a lawyer or something, or whatever box was supposed to be ticked on. I think my mom still wishes that had happened. But then I got here and I was like, oh, you're like me, like there's someone different that is trying to scratch some itch they're not even aware that they had. And so I got on a film set, and that was here, and they were actually, this is back in the day, it's like 2002 or whatever, and they're rotating through the positions, and I was like, oh my goodness, like here's all the different people that come together to make this. Like I don't think I even realized how many people it took to make a movie, and it was like a drug. I had to have it. I had to get on set, and so then I started volunteering, and the whole time I was at Full Sail, anytime there was a film shoot that was going on, I'd be like, can I help out? Can I just be there? Can I just watch? I'll paint the walls. I'll do anything. Like I did not care, because I realized that there was something so special about being on set. And the equipment that we had at the time was like revolutionary. Now it's like out of date, but because that was 20 years ago. But at the time it was like, oh my goodness, I get hands-on experience with this. I could not believe that I could touch a Panaflex 35mm camera. And so I was taking it apart, putting it together every day. I would go back to the classes. It's like, can I try that again? Can I work on it? And one of my first jobs, I worked on a movie called Ali, and one of the camera operators got sick. and they needed somebody to load. I was a camera intern at that time. They needed somebody to load, and I'm in the tent, and I was like, I've done this. I can do this. And I did it at Full Sail so many times. I was the fastest at it, but I was so nervous. And literally like Michael Mann, you know, Will Smith movie, this huge thing. And I'm having to load this camera, and I did, you know, and I got my first like real credit at that time. And it's solely from doing it 1,000 times at Full Sail.
Well, I want to jump right into that for you and for our online guests. Words of advice for how to make the most of your time on this campus. I mean, Jason, you said you were working around the clock, having fun though, right? So give us a little piece of advice about really how to make the most of your time here.
I mean, I think that's really it, which is, you know, it's like Disneyland for creatives. Like, that's such a great way to put it. You know, you're surrounded by, it's not just that the coursework is directed towards your passion, but the people around you are all trying to achieve the same thing. And so, you know, I took advantage of that and basically found a group of people that had similar, you know, ideals and dreams that I wanted. And we just teamed up and we're like, we're going to work together to have fun and learn and teach each other and make things together and encourage each other. And like that kind of social group and that positive reinforcement really just, I think, just dramatically accelerated my like learning, I think that's really how you get the most out of something like this.
And did you say you're still in touch with your social group from here?
Yeah, a couple of the folks from there. I am. One of them actually still works with me. We've worked at all 20 years now. It's been great. Yeah.
Awesome. Is anybody else still in touch with fellow grads they went to school with? So let's just jump into the scary word of networking then, because we don't like to think of it like that. It's relationship building, right? Making friends. So how do I do that, Alejandro?
It really is all about making sincere connections with people. If you see something that you're interested in, talk to the person who's also interested in it, and you form a connection that way. It's that simple. I talk about one of the things that I like to do is when I play a video game, I will sit through the credits. Number one, because I want to see all the people that I know that worked on this, and like, oh, cool, I know him. Wait, oh, we have a mutual friend here, or whatever. But aside from that, I want to see the people who are responsible for the thing that I just enjoyed. And I will hop on LinkedIn and say, you know, I thought that the lighting in this level was fantastic. I'll find the lighting artist. I'll add him on LinkedIn and say, hey, thank you for making awesome lighting in this game that I enjoyed. It's as simple as that. And maybe they respond, maybe they don't. It doesn't really matter, because I wanted to express my sincere appreciation at the amazing work that they did. If it turns into more than just that, fantastic.
Everyone loves to be complimented.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we're in this industry that is so, at least for me in particular, you know, in the film industry, you just get beat down all the time. And then someone sends me an email and they're like, I love this movie. And I'm like, oh, you did? Oh, okay. Tell me more, you know? So that goes a long way, you know? We're sometimes desperate for that type of at least maybe I'm just giving something about myself right now. But, you know, you're like, you liked it? Great. So, but that does go a really long way, and just be chill, you know? I will say too, like, I think there's something really great about networking laterally. Like, everybody gets so caught up in, oh, here's this person. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't come talk to me. Please come talk to me. That's why I'm here. I'm excited to talk with you. But the best connections I had are with my peers. And then we all move up, and then someone gets the cool gig, someone gets the cool opportunity, and then we're helping each other. And if you know that you're working together, and that lateral networking can be your best foot forward, and people don't realize it, because they're always, and then you can feel it too. You're like, oh, you're just looking for the person that can help you, and then it becomes, like you said, it's not sincere. Now it's like very clearly, I'm just trying to connect with this. But that that lateral networking, I think, is really, really key and goes a long way.
Yeah, and it should be easy, because if you like what you're doing, you should be able to express that, you know, that passion for it. It should be easy. It shouldn't be hard. If it feels hard, then you have to rethink the way that you're approaching it, because it should be easy.
Yeah, and I feel pay it forward. You know, while you're at Full Sail, if there's a company, a person you like, show them your love. Share a thoughtful comment. I love this because. And always think about how you can add value. Don't immediately ask for something, right? So while you're here, choose the people you like authentically from your heart. Show them love. I think that's the best way forward. And I feel it's always about how you make someone feel. right? Bring out the best in people. People won't remember your title or what you do or maybe sometimes your name, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So bring out the best in people.
I love that. Maya Angelou, right? I want to ask, for the people that are sitting here, good for you, you're all where you're at, but did you ever experience fear or struggles, or was there a challenge that you had to overcome in school, and how did you face that?
So, the fear never goes away for me. I think that, for me personally, some of, whether you call it imposter syndrome or, the insecurity that comes with putting yourself out there, trying to do something creative and ultimately get people to want you to do it, with them as a collaborative endeavor is always hard. I think it's hard to remember in school. I think one of the things that was so great, and this has already been said, was that we had these instructors that understood that, right? And so I think those connections are really valuable too, and to just really absorb what those people are saying. But what I've found to be the best remedy for that, I guess, is leaning on, this goes back to the network thing, is just leaning on my connections. And that I think the world we live in likes to, we make icons out of successful people in ways that that make you think someone, is doing something alone, right? You see an artist you love, and it's, and you don't think about the teams behind these things that happen. And I think pretty much everything we do is some sort of team sport. And so I think it's really important to take care of the people that are doing these things with you and to lean on those people, and then they'll always be there for you. And that's the only way I've gotten through all these things, is the people around me, frankly.
I was thinking that as I look down the line, you all work with large teams of people, correct? So Katrina, tell us a little bit about the creative process in that environment and how you navigate that.
It's really tricky leading creative teams because you have to keep the inspiration and the spark alive. And it really honestly goes back to what you were saying, Alejandro, making those genuine connections and also harnessing the power that you have together, even as peers, because you will move up throughout the years and you'll never know who is going to be at the bottom that's going to surpass you. But really, to be a good leader, you have to be a good listener and you have to be servant. You have to be willing to learn. When I started working in Fantasmic, Hansen, I'm going to give him a shout out. He's running lights. He was one of my lighting techs at Fantasmic. I didn't know anything about lighting. I didn't know anything about pyro, but I put on black, like tech blacks and these rain boots all the way up to here. And I just got in that moat and I was like, can you show me how to load pyro? And they thought I was being cute, but I was serious. I wanted to go in there and I wanted to learn how to load pyro. And that's sort of the philosophy that I have taken throughout each and every single stage that I've worked at, every project that I've worked on. Every single show, there's a little piece of artwork that I try to contribute. I try to learn how to animate. I try to learn how to model. I'm so excited. There's a mermaid show and there's like little seaweed that I modeled that I was so proud of. But that's really because I wanted to empower my team to be the experts, the subject matter experts. And when they see that you're just a leader that's there, that's trying to support them and trying to empower them, then the collaborative process becomes organic and becomes genuine and fun.
So I don't want to make any assumptions about people out there or our audience online. So can we just share briefly what you do, your job title, and what that actually means? Because I don't know if you're in school and you understand that all these careers are out there, right? So let's start with you, Martina. I'm not going in order, so don't ever think we're just going down the line here, okay? Martina.
Yeah, so my title is Vice President of Football Partnerships, the real football. Soccer.
Burn.
I think yours is handball, no? I'm at SPORTFIVE, which is a sports marketing agency. And my role is I'm focusing on business development and partnerships for MLS and WSL, the FIFA World Cups coming up. And what that means is all the sponsors and brands that you see on TV, in the stadiums, on the jerseys of the athletes, on the TV screen. So my job is to find brands who want to invest in football, who want to have access to the audience. So I speak typically to the CEOs, the CMOs, and we find ways to authentically integrate them into the game.
Beautifully said. And has your career surprised you? Did you think you were going to wind up in that sort of position?
I always, for me, my dream started when I was 8 years old. I remember the '98 World Cup. Being from Croatia, growing up in Germany, people couldn't really pronounce my last name. They haven't really heard of Croatia. And all of that changed with the World Cup. Suddenly, within a few weeks, billions of people, Croatia was third, and suddenly the whole world knew about us. And that's when I understood the power of sport, the power of football, one of the biggest stages in the world. So yes, I wanted to be part of that magic, but I never played football. I'm not an athlete. So yes, I always wanted to be around that, but I had no idea that it's going to be partnerships and business development. So yeah, I guess the industry chose me.
And what about you, Jason? I know you love to play games and make games while you were here. Did you think you were going to reach the heights as an entrepreneur that you have?
No. Certainly not. So I'm the founder and CEO of Discord. And what is a CEO? It's kind of a tricky thing to explain. I think at the end of the day, what I do is I set the strategy and vision for what we do at Discord, and I recruit like the senior leaders of the company. That's like, I think at minimum kind of what a CEO does, but I spend a lot of my time also kind of as like the chief editor of the things that we create. Mm-hmm. So kind of like Katrina was saying, I have a team of 900 people, brilliant software engineers, product designers, marketers, partnerships folks. And when we have projects that people are working on, I will frequently sit with them and we'll talk about like the designs of screens in the app or the marketing videos we're going to put out or deals we're going to do. And I'll kind of give them feedback and help kind of bring a global view of what we're doing at the company, because people are kind of in their areas working on, different sections of the business. But as the CEO, I have a unique viewpoint to see everything that's happening. So I can bring connections and kind of serve my team from that perspective. But I think the fundamental thing about sort of thinking about, if you want to run your own company someday, is it's really the job changes kind of every 6 months. There was a point in time when I was the only employee. I was the only person at the company. So I was also the chief bathroom cleaner, right? Like the garbage taker outer. So my background was software engineering, and that's kind of the craft and the creative energy that I brought to it. But as an entrepreneur, you do whatever you have to do. So, I don't know. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. And John, so now you're a CEO and a business owner. Did you think you were going to wind up there? And tell us a little bit about your company.
Yeah, I did not. I'm the CEO and music director of a company I founded called Spider Farm Productions. Kind of the other end of the spectrum. We're about a tenth the size of Discord.
It's all good.
There's maybe 8 or 9 of us. And our primary focus is music production for video games. We also work on film and television, but what that means is a whole lot of things. And what people don't know, and even a lot of game developers don't know this, and it's one of the things we're trying to change, is that the music that's composed for a game or a show is a small fraction of the work that goes into that. And on games specifically, there's all this detail that goes into it. And so throughout my career, I've been pushing for this. I mean, because I'm a gamer and I love music, I noticed these things, and I think I was very vocal about it early on in my career, and it helped, in a constructive way, that helped to raise awareness for this. And so what we do on a given game title is support the person composing the music, whether they're part of our team or an external that's brought on. But we like to say we produce the music from composer to controller, which means that all the work that happens once the music is designed and composed is probably about, 75 or 80% of the work. And that's what our team really leans into is, we mix the music, we edit the music. On most, large-scale game titles, we probably commission maybe 2.5 hours of music, which might be 60 or 80 pieces of music. And then 4,000 to 6,000 edits of that music go into the game. And then those edits have to be implemented by technical music designers on our team who are in the game engine, managing script documents, and then testing that to make sure, because no one else knows what the music is supposed to do. Right. So it's a big project, and it's a small, nimble team. Everybody on the team wears many, many hats. That's the only way we can be successful, because the different parts of the production process change regularly. So as a CEO, I've had to, I mean, like everyone else has mentioned, just make sure I'm comfortable wearing those different hats, but more importantly, that the people who are the primary resource in all this. And I said this yesterday on a panel too. It's when you're going out there and getting started, talking to people about potential job opportunities, you have to remember that you're the commodity in all this, right? And I think that's an important thing to make sure the people on my team know as we go along. And like for my clients, one of the things that's most important is consistency. So for me, if I can't keep those people and keep them engaged, we have a real problem. So taking care of those people is probably the most important thing about being CEO. And then the work is, just under that, making sure it all comes out as good as it can.
Well, it's been lovely watching you grow. And, you came from large companies, right? Sony, Facebook, and now you have your own. So congratulations.
Getting smaller.
Yes, yes.
Smaller is better.
Says Jason. Alejandro, tell us what you do.
So my title is Senior Director, Head of Co-Dev at Side, which was just recently rebranded last week from PTW. Previous to that, I was one of the partners and the director of tech at Ghost Punch, which was a small co-dev studio, and we were acquired back in September by PTW. So my role at Ghost Punch was all of the engineers reported to me, all of IT was under my domain, and all of audio for the company. At PTW, that has all of this infrastructure built into it, or Side now has all the infrastructure. They needed someone to run the business of co-development from a strategic perspective globally. So that's my new role now, is I need to make sure that clients are receiving quality service for engineering and design and technical art and all the game development services, as well as serving the company by growing the business internationally. Ghost Punch was 65 when we were acquired back in September, mostly based in the East Coast of the U.S., our headquarters in South Florida. Side has about 20 to 40 locations throughout the world, and so bringing co-development services to all those locations is one of my charges now.
Beautiful. You can do this someday, right? Aaron, tell us what you do. What's a showrunner?
Oh, wow. What's a showrunner? So a showrunner is the creative and logistical head of a TV series, start to finish. So it starts with the writing. So you're not really a showrunner if you're not writing, for the most part. There's some exceptions, but I'm the lead writer, so it's my vision. Like I wrote the pilot with a co-writer, and then you are in charge of every logistical and creative decision. So you're hiring everyone, you're doing everything, and you have, this show that I'm on now, Revival, which comes out later this year. If you want to watch it, you can. You could just put it on like overnight and just let it play. You don't even have to watch it. It's fine. I need the views in like those first weeks. Anyway, but yeah, you're just trying to. You're hiring all of these wonderful people. Like as Jason was saying, like you have your leadership team, right? Yeah. So I have my key creatives, right? And then you're empowering them to then hire their teams below that. And then you're kind of, observing like, whoa, maybe not them or maybe this. But for the most part, you're empowering these people to do that. And yeah, and then, every day I'm working with, in this situation, I wasn't directing some of the episodes as well. So I had directors under me as well, and they're working toward a cohesive vision that I'm keeping across all 10 episodes of the show. And then, So that's what I'm currently doing, but I also am also CEO and have an indie production company where we make feature films. And then I find that a lot of people don't even know what a producer does either. And, you know, which is this, it's very similar to a showrunner. TV and film are different. And in film, like the director's kind of king, and in TV, the showrunner's kind of king. But then in the film side, as a producer, I'm also the person who hires that director, who then kind of becomes king. It's a weird thing. But I mainly serve as lead producer, and you know, we'll have 100, 150 people on a film. Sometimes it's a bigger film, 200, 300, and you know, we make 3 to 4 films a year. And yeah, I mean, it's just juggling all those things. While I've been show running, I've been lucky to have a couple Full Sailers that work with me. A couple that went to Full Sail with me at the time, others that went to Full Sail and we've brought on later that will run the company a little bit while I'm show running a TV series, because I realized I could not produce those films and be hands-on while also show running. I was a little delusional. Maybe I still am. And but yeah, I mean, and then I'm also a writer-director too. So sometimes I'll be like, okay, I don't want to be the head producer of this. I just want to direct this. And then I'll empower one of my producing partners, which is odd because they work for me at the company, but then I need them to produce me as a director. And then I go and direct something. So it's just all creative filmmaking in whatever random place and time zone and country it is all the time. Yeah.
It sounds like you do what you got to do when it needs doing.
Every day. Every day. I literally last night left a party at Gary Jones' house, amazing, came to the hotel, and from 11 until 3 a.m. I edited with my editor, you know, so yeah, it's crazy.
It's a lot. And Katrina, besides standing in a moat and watching pyro and learning, tell us about what you do.
So I'm a senior creative producer. Creative producer is like kind of an oxymoron. It's left brain, right brain. So I have to do a little bit of both. But my main function is to drive the creative development and execution of custom visual media content that we create for our live shows in the parks. Not the attractions, not the rides. We do parades, we do nighttime spectaculars. We project on all kinds of buildings, water screens like in Fantasmic. So I lead the teams of digital artists. I help with the storyboarding, the script writing process, and the staffing of the team, and the milestone and the phasings of how we get to each phase of production. And then of course all the way to the install. I mean, I'm in a hard hat and safety vests in a construction zone a lot of times. They're hanging up speakers or putting up new screens. And I'm live inputting with my team of VFX designers, live color correcting on whatever surface we're working on. Like it could be a castle in Magic Kingdom, it could be a tree in Animal Kingdom, or cruise ships. I do a lot of cruise line work. But my job is to be that leader from start to finish that delivers the creative and has to do everything in between to make that happen.
Amazing. So I know when you're a student, you have time to learn and grow and study your craft, right? One of the tenets at Full Sail is to learn and grow always, right? And we have to do that to be successful in our career. So where do you find the time and how do you do it? How do you do it? What are you doing to keep yourself fresh? Jonathan.
On the music side, I'm really lucky because I have a 15-year-old daughter who has great taste in music, and so she does most of the heavy lifting, So driving her to school every morning, I get turned on to all kinds of cool new music, so that helps a lot. But I think being open, I mean, one of the things I try to impart to, and this is on the music side specifically, to all the people I work with and who work with me, is that I think our job is to be a fan and not a critic. And I think that's really important because I know when I was in school at Full Sail, that was not the case for me. I was very opinionated about music. I was learning all these things about how music gets made. And so those opinions got even stronger. And it's taken me a long time. I mean, I don't know specifically when it happened, but I've definitely come around to the idea that these things we do, and this isn't just music, are out there for people to enjoy, to consume, to get some sort of joy out of. And that joy needs to go into making the thing if we want to get it back. It's one of my clients' favorite favorite sayings that I've been hearing a lot lately is you have to have fun to make fun. And so I think, you know, just remembering where that joy is for you, and it can change, right? You might, as you go through your career, you might find joy in different places, but when you do, and when you feel it, be present, you know, not be thinking about the next thing you're going to do, and mark those moments so that you can lean into them when you have opportunities, because we don't have a ton of free time. And so, you know, I don't know, like mixing is, you know, one of my primary passions. That's why I came to school here. I'm not always mixing. It's not what I do 100% of my time. But when I am, I try really hard to time box that stuff, you know, make sure I have a quiet space to do it and really remember why it is I'm doing that, what I get out of it, and that kind of thing. So, you know, I think just, yeah, just finding that joy is really what it's all about for me. And then that just leads to, you know, and what I do is really technical too, so that frequently leads to me going down fun technical rabbit holes that I didn't know were there, and improving my craft in that way too, because all this technology we use and stuff is constantly changing. But it's really just about continuing to have fun.
I love that. Say that one more time. You have to have fun to make fun.
Yeah, and that's not my saying. I stole it, but
okay. I love that.
Just to add to that, like, when you're working on a day-to-day basis and you're, you know, working on your tasks and you have this milestone to hit and stress is really high and, you know, the expectations are high and you really need to get this quantity done at a certain level of quality, it's easy to forget that we're making video games, right? Like, and so I'll often, you know, just walk around and remind people, hey guys, we're working on video games and we're getting paid for it. Like, this is awesome, right? And everyone's like, oh, yeah, we are. Okay, let's make it fun.
We have a saying, it's just dancing ducks and mice. That's what we say.
I love
just
that.
dancing ducks and mice.
And what about you, Jason? You must be solving problems all day long. How do you find joy in your life? How do you take a break?
Yeah, well, it is kind of similar. You know, I think part of the reason why I'm suited for this kind of a job, so if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur and CEO, maybe, I don't know, there's many different shapes and sizes that can take on if you want to do that, as you see up here. But I'm just a very curious person, and I love to learn. And so, you know, I was, even when I was younger, I would go to the bookstore back when they were bookstores and like get, you know, programming books off the shelf or how to make things in Flash. And, you know, this is like 100 years ago. And I just really love to learn and read and then practice my craft. And so I still like code games on the side, and I actually picked up writing music because it's like a creative thing. And so I've been having a lot of fun exploring the latest kind of programming AI copilot stuff to build games has been fun. But then, and staying in touch with the craft of software development is really helpful for me leading a software company, because then I can go sit with my engineers and actually talk to them about the work that they're doing, and kind of like getting into the moat with the boots. Like, when you're leading people, if you can relate to them and the actual work that they're doing and you understand their language, you have so much more credibility, and they will work harder and be more excited and trust you, because they know you're not some, you know, paper pusher who's just like, oh, we need to save 14% on this, you know. So it's really, really helpful to stay in touch with that craft. But most of what I do now is not that. You know, it's leading people, and like I had to learn how to do marketing, so I like read marketing books, and I would go seek out experts in marketing and talk to them and learn, and a lot of trial and error.
And same with fundraising. Did you learn that
yeah.
outside of here?
Right. So fundraising is a whole other thing that CEOs do. Well, depending on your company, but I did do a lot of fundraising. Yeah, I was really fortunate to have a mentor early on in my career who I met when I moved out to the Bay Area, who kind of came from the startup scene there and really kind of introduced me, kind of to the point of networking, introduced me to some of the folks in that world and kind of showed me, like, how do you do fundraising? And that was at my first startup. So, yeah.
I love what you said, staying curious and forever learning and evolving and growing. I think that's so important, because soon you will turn pro. You've been a student for 15 years. You had a teacher, you had a class schedule that you followed. None of that will be there once you turn pro and once you get to that next level. So I think making the decision to stay a student for life, you have to choose your new teachers, you have to choose and build your own class schedule. You have to, read the books and listen to the music and movies. And I think with sports and athletes, yes, you need to obsess over your craft. You have to put in the 10,000 hours to really become a pro at it. But then you don't want to burn out. And what I always recommend is tap into other areas. I love art, I love fashion. Dive and get ideas and inspiration and magic from other areas that then you can bring back to your craft and innovate and continue to stay creative and innovative and, push forward.
I mean, I may or may not have Google searched and on YouTube how to be a showrunner. So, I mean, look, I think there's just something about trying to be open to learning and understanding that you're not the smartest person in the room and that there are so many people you can learn from. Like, I still have a master class thing. I pay every year for master class, and I still go back and I rewatch the Aaron Sorkin one, I rewatch the Scorsese one, I rewatch, all of these, right? I watch the Shonda Rhimes one in detail and everything she's doing for how many shows she show runs, and the Stranger Things one. Anyway, I can keep going. There's a lot I watch. But I always revisit these things, and then I network with people that have been colleagues and they've worked on a show or they've done this, and I'm like, hey, can I buy you lunch? Can we just talk about your experiences and what can I learn from, what would you do differently? And you just try to take that all in. And I was probably over prepared when I started the writer's room, which is the first big function of a showrunner, where you bring a bunch of writers in together and you're on Zoom and sometimes in person. And you're talking out story and structure and character arcs and all this for months, and that was so creatively fulfilling. But I was so nervous to do it because I wanted to, how do I empower all the writers, and how do I make sure they're doing this, and how do I do all these things? And what I learned is that I had the instincts as an indie filmmaker. I didn't even realize they were there, and they applied the same way. But that came from asking the right questions to the right people, and just something comes out and I'm curious. That's a great question. And then I love what you were saying, Jonathan, too, about when I went to film school, I was a critic of all movies. I was like, look what they're doing. They don't understand. Like, this should have been this, and complete bullshit. Or sorry, whatever. And now I'm like, now that I've made movies, I'm like, oh, look how hard that was for them.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe they pulled that off. Like, this is amazing. And I walk up to people and I'm just like this. And don't get me wrong, I have opinions of movies still, but I see there's so much that goes into it, and you create such an appreciation for what it is that then you're kind of all in this circle of hell together at times, where you're like, I empathize with you. I know what that was like. We had Category 5 tornadoes tear down parts of our set, in the middle of me directing something. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and this stuff. And so many people know those stories and they know this stuff, and we help each other out, and it just changes your perspective. And I just think that's really important, that you're open-minded to what else is out there, and it costs nothing to support an artist, right? To give encouragement. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a huge thing. You can be critical and constructive in what it is, but that support and just saying, look, this thing that you did here, maybe the whole movie didn't work, but this scene, you nailed it. Mm. And it's like, that's more your voice. Can you do that? And once you encourage them and you figure that out, you'll find your voice, and it becomes really special. But it's always evolving. I never knew showrunner was going to be this is the most creatively fulfilling thing I've ever done. I did not know that was going to be the case. I thought I was just always going to be, I was a writer first, then I was a director to protect my writing, and then I was a producer to protect my directing. Everything has evolved and changed, and I'm so glad that it did. Yeah, and I'm so glad it did.
I want to add that I think it's important to stay relevant with connecting to your consumer. So one thing that I love to do is just kind of be undercover boss in the theme parks and just watch the shows, but I'm not watching the show. I'm watching the guest reactions, and I'm taking notes. And the harshest critics of all time are our kids. Our daughters will tell us the truth. And a company like Disney, it's a family company. We're supposed to create happiness. So I will literally ask them for their feedback, their thoughts, and I'll use them as like a think tank, them and their friends. And I'd be like, what kind of shows would you want to see? What kind of characters do you want to see? So I just think it's really important to experience what you're trying to create and take a seat back and try to experience it from a different perspective, because you could learn a lot.
Oh, I've literally bought tickets to movies that we released, and then I'll hide in the audience and just kind of like angle back the whole time. And one time there was a family walking back, and it was a movie that had like a very nebulous ending where you could take different interpretations, and they were having this big discussion, philosophical discussion about what the movie meant. I followed them all the way to their car, pretending like I was going to a different car. And just like, yeah, whatever. Because I was so curious, because that was so raw and real, and I was so desperate to know what like a real reaction was. So I get that completely.
I didn't follow the guests though.
Well, yeah. You're a better person than me.
No.
So.
Borderline stalking, perhaps, but we're not sure.
Mom, you gotta do what you gotta do. Creepy lady keeps asking me questions.
And Jason, I think I read when you were starting, you started a Reddit group or something just to get feedback.
Yeah, the Reddit thing was actually kind of a way to get the word out. But the way that we really got people to get the word out was by asking for feedback. And I think one of the themes that you're hearing here is a lot of what people do in business is you're effectively selling stuff to strangers, right? So you need to understand what people want. And I think the magic, at least the fulfilling magic for me, and it sounds like for a lot of people here, is when your creative passion, kind of the Venn diagram of your creative passion and what people want has some overlap, and you can live in that space and get paid for it, right? So early on when we were building Discord, it was very much, it came from a place of building a tool for ourselves, but it was inspired by seeing, like, what do our friends want? We were making a game before that had multiplayer. What are those people doing around the title? And then as we started to bring it to market on Reddit, and then we had set up Discord servers for it, we would constantly be asking people, not quite as creepily as following them to their car, but like, what do you think? What features do you want? And once you have a product or a service that's kind of out there, you will get feedback because everyone's a critic. And so it was also pretty easy to just sort of get a sense for what folks enjoyed and didn't enjoy. And it was really satisfying to be able to collect that feedback, figure out how to improve our service, ship it, and then see people's excitement around delivering that. As you serve more people, there's another skill, which is like, how do you figure out when to listen to who and in what way and all this stuff. You don't listen to all the random kids you talk to, right? But yeah.
So I think one of the things that I'm taking away from what everyone here is saying is it's not just about passion for the product or passion for the creative outcome, but it's passion for the creative process. And for the craft of making the thing. You should be as passionate at that as you are of the final product.
And I think in any business, as everyone has said, it's always about the audience. The first thing I did in any new role that I start, for the first few months, I always sit with the audience and the fans. Right, in a football stadium, when I joined women's sports, which with the NWSL, I was previously always in men's football, I attended every game and I just observed the fans. What do they like? What are they eating? What are they drinking? What are they buying? And that's how you get ideas of, okay, maybe I should bring a beauty brand into, or a dating app into the experience. So I think everything starts and ends with the audience, and you need to know what they want, how they feel, what they like and what they don't like. You need to immerse yourself with the audience so you know how to best deliver.
Yeah, maybe one thing I'll add to that, as you're thinking about, when you get your first job and you start to get into building your careers, when I'm working with more early career employees, and they talk to me about understanding of what our customers care about, and not just like, oh, my boss told me I have to build a doohickey, so I'm going to build the doohickey to the spec that the boss told me. But if they actually come and they're like, okay, I know you wanted me to make a doohickey, but I was reading some Reddit forums, and I kind of think it should be like this and not like that. That person's getting a promotion instantly, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to create products and services to solve problems for people. And when you're at a company, and I fell into this trap early in my career, it was really easy to feel like you're doing what your bosses are telling you, but they're just trying to proxy and interpret what they think the world wants. And so you have to early in your career be thoughtful that like you can't override your boss because they're in that position for that reason, but they are actually usually, if they're well intentioned, trying to create the best thing they can. And so if you can bring additional insights or show empathy for what they're trying to do, it'll get you really far.
So Katrina, what brings you joy about your career?
Oh my gosh, so much. It's very fulfilling because it's very challenging. So it's like a really big puzzle each and every single time. And then there's like a huge adrenaline rush when we finally open a show. And then to be able to think that people from all over the world, sometimes this is the only time that they'll ever see the show. It could be their once in a lifetime opportunity. They can come. You never know what they're going through. You never know if, we'll have Make-A-Wish Foundation. We never know, with children who are sick, and we'll have, people that are celebrating, engagements, graduations. So we're there to help celebrate the good times and the bad times, and to think that the love that we pour into the art that we create has that ability to transcend emotionally across different cultures, across different languages, to a global audience. That's what brings me joy, and it's like a drug. It's amazing. I'm addicted to it.
And Alejandro, I feel like you're the person to ask this question, but what's the commonality here? You're all in different fields, you're all in different places, and you're all entering the Hall of Fame. What's the common thread for this success? Do you see anything that you can share?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of said it earlier. It's passion for the craft. Mm-hmm. It's liking video games, it's liking sports, it's liking, social interactions, liking music, liking, that as much as the act of making the things that people are experiencing. Mm. And so, I mean, my life is marked by, dotted with amazing video game experiences. And I have multiple moments in my life where I thought like, oh, wow, that video game just did that to me. And so if I can share that feeling with someone, that is, that's magical. That's the point of it. That's the point of what we're all doing. And I think that's what each one of the people on this panel have said in some way.
Amazing. Can we congratulate these incredible graduates for being inducted into the Hall of Fame? It's been so lovely having you on this panel, but they will be around campus all week long. And if you're interested, walk up, ask a question, network, all the things that you've heard here today, okay? So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Hall of Fame week, and we will see you later. So thank you so much.